Welcome back, everybody, to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the 2024 upcoming Atlantic hurricane season, which by all indications appears that we're heading toward a very, very busy season. And we're going to kind of explain why on this edition. Now, before we get going, if you'd like to get your chance to win your own personal NOAA weather radio, just like this one, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and you're automatically registered to win a weather radio. Now, let's go ahead and get into the latest on this. First thing we're going to talk about here is the sea surface temperature anomaly map. And what this measures is where we're seeing current sea surface temperatures running above where they're supposed to be. A couple things I do want to point out here. The first thing you're going to notice here is this blue area off the eastern portion of the Pacific. That is La Nina. That's the upwelling of cooler water there that's starting to establish itself because La Nina has a big impact on the Atlantic hurricane season. We'll explain it in greater detail here in a second. The second thing I want to point out here is the fact that we've already got temperatures out here in that prime zone in the tropics that are running above normal. And I got another chart to show you to illustrate on that point as well. So we've got a couple things, those couple ingredients coming together that point toward that active hurricane season. So we're talking about La Nina first. So here again is La Nina. We've got that upwelling of the cooler waters in the eastern Pacific. We're going to have enhanced convection on the Atlantic side. It'll be suppressed in the Pacific side. And the fact that we're going to have a lack of wind shear, strong upper level winds across the Atlantic as the result of La Nina, we're going to be looking at reduced wind shear and greater activity to develop that could have impacts on the continental United States. So that's why La Nina is a factor. Now, also throw in the fact, as I mentioned in the chart here, we're seeing sea surface temperatures that are running even warmer than they were last year. You notice here as of May 15th, we're sitting right here. This line here is last year's number, so we're already tracking warmer than last year. So that is a very concerning as we go deeper into the hurricane season. That the amount of energy that these storms feed off looks like it's going to be pretty good as we go through this upcoming summer. Now, as far as June is concerned, as we take a look at the June chart here, this is the primary where you typically see tropical activity to fire here, pretty much off the southeastern coast, all the Gulf of Mexico, right through this region right here, through the month of June, which is only days away. Now, because of the fact that we're seeing activity out there already potentially here, and I'll show you that in the models, it would not shock me the least if we see something that develop a little bit further out, especially the fact that we've got anomalies and warm water already out further out into the Atlantic. So that is definitely concerning. Now, currently from the National Hurricane Center, we're not seeing anything in tropical development over the next couple of days. Next 48 hours is quiet. However, the GFS American model is showing potentially something that could come toward the end of the current work week. Now, as we take a look at the latest satellite imagery covering across the tropics in the Atlantic, it looks pretty quiet out there right now. The intertropical convergence zone is pretty far south, where it should be for this time of year, but this will begin to propagate and move further north as we start to see the seasons go deeper into summer and the waters begin to warm up a bit. What the models are hinting at is something down here across South America kind of forming and being drawn northward, and then maybe something developing in this area as we head toward the end of the week, going toward Friday and then toward Memorial Day weekend. So let's take a look at this from a model perspective here as we take a look at the American GFS model, and this is what we're going to track this system. So let me go into my interactive mode here, and we're going to kind of straight through here real quick. So I'm going to start this back here. Sorry, I had to reset it there. And you'll notice this activity here toward the south. So we're talking about something coming up here out of the south, coming into the Caribbean right through here. As this continues to move to the north, watch what happens here as we go into Friday and Saturday. It looks like we get some sort of low to possibly developing into this area right about there. So we're talking about late in the day on Friday. So this has the potential, maybe we get a weak tropical depression. Maybe it becomes a weak tropical storm. But one thing is for sure, it will be pretty short-lived. It's not going to be lasting all that long. Look what happens here as we take this through its entire loop. It gets kind of pulled out into the Atlantic. We got another system coming off the eastern seaboard there. So if anything does develop, it'll be short-lived. It'll move out in the Atlantic. One thing that does look certain here is that the intertropical convergence zone on the models here does appear to stay pretty active here as we go into the first week of June. So Could we get a tropical storm before the official start of the hurricane season? It's possible, but something we'll watch as we go deeper in through finishing up the month of May and obviously going into June. Of course, June 1st is the official start of the hurricane season. This is kind of a chart here illustrating when the peak season occurs here. So basically things start to get firing here once you get through August 1st and kind of once you get to the end of October. So this is the prime zone right now. Of course, we're sitting down here, so low activity typically, climatologically speaking, as we look at years past. Another thing I'm going to be watching here very closely is going to be the North Atlantic Oscillation. Now, why is this chart important? Well, the NAO kind of dictates the strength of the Bermuda High. When it's in a positive phase, so when it's when you see those little valleys or those hills going into this zone, that means the high pressure is strong. So that means a greater chance of a storm maybe getting steered into the East Coast or going into the Gulf of Mexico. When it's down south or sitting below that line, when it's in a negative phase, that means there's typically a trough along the east, and that means the storms have a greater risk of being picked up and being steered away from the East Coast. So I'll be watching the North Atlantic Oscillation here very, very closely as we go through this 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Of course, we got to talk about the names, and here are the name charts here for the 2024. Alberto being the first. I'm really surprised that one was not retired. I was working in Albany, Georgia back in 1994 when that storm killed a lot of folks, about 27, 28 people, caused about $500 million worth of damage because of significant flooding there. I'm also surprised that Isaac's still out there. That was also a pretty strong storm in the past. So there's a couple storms in there. I question why they didn't retire him, but that's what the 2024 season names are looking like right now in Alberto. If it does form with what we're looking at, it'll be a pretty short-lived one at that. So that is your update for now. Again, we'll be doing these on a regular basis throughout the upcoming hurricane season. So if you would like to get regular updates on this, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on when new updates are posted here on the Weather Nerds channel. Looks like it's going to be an active season, and yours truly will be active, watching it and tracking it the whole way for you every step of the way. All right, that's it for now. That's your latest update. You guys take it easy. We'll see you on the next update. Be good, stay safe, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye for now.